Welcome back to Footballology. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I go through these spells, and it's usually during the off season where there's no football, nothing to kind of keep me going, where I start to question if I love football and things like that. I know I do. I really have a passion for it. I have a lot of video ideas that I've been wanting to put out, but so I go through these spells where I'm like, questioning if I still love football, if I still know football, and things like that. I do. I know I do. It's just I don't know if you guys ever feel that way. Let me know. But that's one thing that's been kind of keeping me from making my videos. Another thing is life right now. YouTube isn't what I do, but it's just something like more or less a hobby. And so right now, life is kind of attacking me right now with a lot of things. So I've been kind of stressed out the last couple of weeks. Not that, you guys really need to know all that, but just want to share with you guys and let you know that that's why I've been gone for so long. But I'm getting back on this video thing. I need to. My notebook is just piling up and piling up with video ideas I need to get out. And this is one of them. So, with all that being said and all that pushed to the side, this video right here is my list of busts that I've came, over the years or compilated over the years of guys that I thought they were going to do really good at the next level and things like that. And so, like everybody has their, I told you that dude was a beast, man. I told you he was going to kill it. And everybody has those guys, and those are the only guys they talk about. Even like on the mainstream, NFL networks and ESPNs and all that, they only talk about the guys that they said they were going to be good. And they never talk about the guys that they said were going to be good that didn't turn out as good. And so I kind of really want to put out this list of saying, haha, look at me. I said this guy was good, but this guy wasn't good. And so I really hope you guys enjoy this list, and let's get into it.
Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down and shake it. Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down.
I have Adarius Bowman. So officially, to me personally, Bowman was the guy that kicked off the OSU receiver trend and just the kind of stretch that they went on of having these stud receivers. A lot of people will probably say Dez Bryant because Dez actually got into the league and did his damage. But Bowman was a stud, dude. Dude was a beast. When I watched him at OSU, and it was really kind of when I started to break into football and the whole NFL and the draft prospects and that whole process itself. And Bowman was one of probably the first receivers that I kind of like got attracted towards, of saying like this guy's going to be a beast and this guy's going to be a stud. I think he came out in the 2007 draft. We're supposed to be drafted that year, and he didn't. But dude at OSU was a monster. I think when you watch him play, if you go back and look, when you watched him play, he played like he had a 4.4, maybe even 4.5 speed and ran really well. I did my research and things like that, and I looked up and said that he ran a 4.7 at the combine and even slower at his pro day. And it was just like, wow, really? Because when you watch him play, he plays so much faster. He was, at the time, I think he was right on the cusp of what we're seeing the receiver be nowadays, or I guess now the receiver kind of is trying to get a little bit shorter. But around that early 2000 part or mid 2000 part with the 6'4", 215, 220 receiver, or even 230 receiver that was just breaking tackles but still running as fast as the guy that was 5'11", 180 pounds. So I think he was right on the cusp of that. And then just a lot of things, like I went and looked up, and a lot of things just start to nag him and go after him. I remember he got in trouble for some drugs or something, and that's what I vaguely remember. And that was pretty much the end of it. That was all I heard. Then I looked him up online to see where he was at. I think he's playing over in the CFL right now and doing his damage there. But this dude was a stud, and he was like, I just knew for a fact that if he would have gotten to the NFL, he would have torched things and tore things up. So me personally, Adarius Bowman was like my official first bust, if you will. And he was the guy that I felt like they could have took it to the next level and some. Next on my list, we have Sam Bradford. Now, I know a lot of people out there are like, whoa, Sam Bradford's still in the league. He does pretty decent and all that. The reason why Sam Bradford, to me personally, was a bust was because he was the guy that I consistently told people going into that draft that he was going to be the next Peyton Manning. He was the second coming of a true franchise quarterback, a guy that was going to take your team to the promised land year in and year out and give you an opportunity to win the Super Bowl year in and year out. A couple of injuries later, now we're kind of looking at him in Philly. He's doing the backup quarterback dance with a rookie right now and all this kind of questionable stuff. And it's like, dang it. I at the time, if you go back in time and you ask me, Mike, is Sam Bradford a beast? You know, like that Mike then was gonna be like, yeah, that dude's a stud. That dude's gonna tear it up. No hands, you know, hands down. He has to go number 1 overall. If he doesn't, he's crazy. So forth and so on. It's just I didn't realize that the injuries that he had at OU was just a kind of thing of just. What's the word I'm looking for? Just things to come, you know what I mean? Like him going into the league was going to be a really bad thing for him, and his body just wasn't that durable. And I guess that's some things you got to start taking accountability. Once again, it was just right when I was like starting to hit my stride of really scouting guys and understanding the whole process itself. But, you know, you got to start taking in consideration those injuries, and then also factor in a lot of other things. People are built differently than other guys, but I definitely felt like Sam Bradford was going to be the second coming of a franchise quarterback, and that dude was just going to shut it down. And I blame St. Louis, though. At the end of the day, they didn't give him an offensive line, and they didn't give him a true wide receiver. They should have took Justin Blackman, but they didn't. They think they took another lineman or something. I don't know. They took something crazy. They should have got Blackman, but Blackman messed up, and we know that story. I feel like they never gave him an opportunity to be good, but I think he's done. I think this is it. I think Philadelphia is going to be Sam Bradford's last rodeo. Next, I have Aaron Curry. This guy, once again, hands down, I just knew it was going to be a beast. I blamed where he went. He went to Seattle. I didn't feel that he fit in Seattle. I think he was an actual true 3-4 pass rusher. And when you look back at it, I think he was still a good cover guy. He could have still been a good 4-3 outside backer. But I definitely felt like that he should have been a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think he would have gave him an opportunity to rush the passer and hone on those skills, but definitely still gave you, from a scheme perspective, the ability for him to drop back in coverage. He was a pretty decent coverage linebacker, in my opinion. But I think when he went to Seattle, it kind of hurt him. On the flip side, another reason why I feel like he busts is because the Kansas City Chiefs. That year, the Kansas City Chiefs took Tyson Jackson, I think right before Seattle picked Aaron Curry. Aaron Curry fell to them. I knew Aaron Curry was coming to the Kansas City Chiefs. We needed him. We needed an outside backer. We needed a guy to groom to make ours. And I think even then, you could have put him in the inside in a 3-4 defense because he was still a quality cover guy. I didn't think he was that great of a pass rusher. And if you put him on the outside in the 3-4, you were going to actually have to tutor him and get him coached up to rush the passer and be effective at it nonetheless. But I definitely feel like he could have been a difference maker backer. And he just went to Seattle, and things didn't work out really well for him there, and he just couldn't make those plays like he was at Wake Forest. And then he just kind of started bouncing around from that point on. But he was still a guy that every time I played Madden, where's Aaron Curry? I kind of want to scoop him up. I'm going to make him a beast because he is a beast. I definitely feel like he was a true athletic linebacker and really played the game with tremendous and amazing instincts. And I definitely thought that was going to translate really well to the NFL. It's just, I think, a lot of scheme fit, coaches switches, and he just never got a chance to really get his gears in place and get him rolling and get him an opportunity to be, I think, the best linebacker probably in that class, and had honestly been worthy of a top 10 pick. Next, we have Josh Freeman. Now, with Josh Freeman, I didn't know too much about him until I started doing more and more research on him. Found out he was going to be a potential first-round pick. Then I started doing, more research of what he was capable of doing. Big quarterback that had the cannon, that had the arm, and had the possibility to be that guy for a franchise, to be that quarterback, that starting quarterback week in and week out. And you throw all that together, and then you put on top that he was a Kansas City boy, a guy that grew up not too far from me. And so that just played even more. I was like, oh yeah, Josh Freeman, stud, easily. And then I kind of started to hypnotize myself and kind of talk myself into believing that he was going to be a good quarterback. And I did. I really believe, and I still believe, that he was going to be a good quarterback. And then that draft, when he came out, and I think he came out with Mark Sanchez and Matthew Stafford, and there was one other quarterback I think came out that year as well. But I told myself that Freeman was going to be the best quarterback out of that draft. Granted, Freeman, come to find out, he's the worst quarterback that came out in that first round, in that draft. And the reason why is because the other two guys, if I'm correct, I think he came out with Mark Sanchez and Matthew Stafford. And if he came out with those guys, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Those guys are still playing for Mark Sanchez isn't, but Matthew Stafford is still starting for his respective team that he got drafted by and looking really well. It's going to be interesting to see what he looks like this year without his, that Calvin Johnson receiver. or without Calvin Johnson himself. And Mark Sanchez, I guess you can say he been to 2 AFC Championship games. But you know, those guys kind of had some success in the league thus far. You know, Matthew Stafford throwing for 5,000 yards consecutively and just looking like a stud at the quarterback position when it comes to airing out the rock. And then, Matthew Stafford, like I said, going to the 2 AFC Championship games and really being the starter for the New York Jets for quite some time there. Josh Freeman didn't never do those things for Tampa Bay, and he just never kind of found it, you know. He kind of, then all the reports and stuff started coming out about his work ethic, and I'm like, oh my God. Once I heard that, I just gave up on him. And then he goes to Indianapolis, he goes to Minnesota, and it was just like he went to Minnesota and then went into Indianapolis, and he just started kind of bouncing around. At that point, once a guy, especially a quarterback, starts to do the bounce around game, you might as well just give up on him and throw in the towel. And Josh Freeman's one of those guys, and it was like, dude, why? You could have easily been a guy that put Kansas City on the map, A. B, you could have easily been a starting quarterback because he had an opportunity to start. I think if he would have went to Minnesota and showed work ethic and just balled out in Minnesota, because I think he was starting within a week of coming off the streets. And so that, or even Tampa Bay was willing to hand you the keys to the car, and you just didn't perform. You didn't really take it to the next level, and it was just so saddening to watch that, because I definitely felt like he was going to be the best quarterback out of that first round, and he just kind of shat on himself, and it was just like, oh my God, seriously. I felt really horrible about that. Next on my list, I have Sergio Kindle. Now, Sergio Kindle was a guy that, when he came out of Texas, he got drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. I felt like he was a little smaller guy at the time. And really, once again, it was right on the cusp of me really starting to break into football and just my whole scouting ability and breaking down the process of how things translate to the NFL or how the numbers translate. But to me personally, he felt like he was going to be a smaller guy. But when he went to the Baltimore Ravens, I felt like that they were going to find a way to really use him and utilize his skill set, because I think he was more one of those bendy pass rushers, more or less, dare I say, like a Von Miller is today, probably slimmer and more acceleration coming off the line of scrimmage. So I definitely felt like Sergio was going to be that guy for the Baltimore Ravens. I think he would have still been playing to this day. But I think, what was it, like a couple of weeks or maybe a month after he got drafted or so, reports came out that he slipped down some steps and cracked his skull. And I was like, oh no, not Sergio. Oh my God, this dude, once again, like Aaron Curry, every time I'm Madden, I find him and I pick him up, I put him on the squad, and I swear to God, I know this is fiction and it's not real and all that good stuff, but he went out and he tore it up for me on Madden. He, like, if I remember correctly, one season I think he had 20 sacks for me, and it was just like, that was so insane. Like, I was like, this is what he is. This is how good he is. I mean, the dude was a crazy pass rusher in Madden, but that's a different story. I just thought that he could be that for the Baltimore Ravens. He was a guy that I really wish could have took it to the next level and really could have stayed healthy. And that was an unfortunate incident that happened. And I wish it didn't happen. I really wish he had an opportunity to at least phase himself out of the league by not playing well, because at least that way you know that he just left the league because he just wasn't good enough, whereas it kind of got taken away from him before it was even given to him. Now we have Taylor Mays, aka, I call him RoboCop, especially when I go back and you watch the UFC highlight video. The way he walks, the way his shoulder pads look, dude looks like RoboCop. Like, dude just looks like built like a robot. Like, dude's a specimen. So when he's coming out of USC, definitely hard-hitting safety, a guy that I wanted the Chiefs to pick up. I thought he was the second best safety in that draft. Come to find out, that draft was loaded with safeties. First being Eric Berry, and we got him. But, you know, I definitely thought he was the second best safety in that draft class. Hard hitter, a guy that definitely was going to play inside the box. For all my people out there, and especially my newer football fans that like Dayon Buchanan, he was Dayon Buchanan before Dayon Buchanan. He came out with Cam Chancellor. The way Cam Chancellor is used up in Seattle is the way Taylor Mays needed to be used and wasn't utilized. And it's funny that I say that because he played with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll goes to Seattle, get Cam Chancellor, and look the way Cam Chancellor's played, and I definitely feel like Taylor Mays could have been that guy. The thing that hurt him the most was his ability, I think personally, was to make plays on the ball. He was a hard hitter. He was that guy that definitely was able to, blow up the run, blow up any kind of play with an explosive hit, and really change the momentum of the game for for his team and for the game itself. And so, how Arizona found a way to use Deion Buchanan by pitting him at linebacker, everyone's like, "Oh, Arizona is so innovative with this." If you go back 2 or 3 years, Cincinnati playing Denver Broncos, and Denver Broncos, I think this was the year Peyton was on his 50 touchdown terror, like he was just ripping stuff. But the way Cincinnati used Taylor Mays in that game, they pit him at linebacker because his ability and his athleticism, dude's a beast. And his athleticism at linebacker kind of gave them fits of what they could do, because this dude was like a safety playing linebacker. Well, he is a safety playing linebacker, but he was so athletic to the point where he could do more things than a normal linebacker could have done. So then you go to Arizona and you flip the page and you see Arizona do that with Deion Buchanan. So everybody now is like, oh, Arizona is so innovative with this safety at linebacker. And now you see, who was it? St. Louis with Mark Barron. Oh, they're so innovative, pin Mark Barron at linebacker. It's like, since he did it first, A, B, and A, and B, Taylor Mays is the prototype. He's the guy that you want to do that with. He's that big physical specimen that I think unofficially he ran a 4.2 at the combine. So I'm gonna say he's a 4.3, 4.4 guy, a guy that 4.5 either way, 230, solid muscle, can run really well. I think he's still jumping around the league right now, or if he's still in Oklahoma, and Oakland, and I'm not sure where he's at exactly right now. Last time I heard, he got picked up by Minnesota, got dropped, and I think he went to Oakland. But the dude is still a beast. The dude is still a monster. He's still a guy that can come downhill, crack it, and blow up the play, and just tear it up with anybody. Like I said, I thought he was the second best safety coming out of that draft. I wanted the Chiefs to take Eric Berry, second round get T. Mays, and it would have been a wrap. Next on my list, I have Mike Glennon. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, he's not a first round pick, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's my bust because he was a guy, once again, that I was, all eggs in a basket. He's going to change it for Tampa Bay. He's going to give them an opportunity to give him a true quarterback. First of all, dude's like 6'6", 6'7" or something. And I watched him at the Senior Bowl, I think it was. And I seen this guy. I was like, who's that tall dude? And then obviously with that length and that height, he had an arm. And it's like, oh, automatic love. Like, I love big quarterbacks with an arm. You can't pass those guys up, right? So he goes to Tampa Bay. I'm like, this is going to be the guy for Tampa. He's going to be the guy to turn it around. And honestly, I don't know what's going on there. Like, I don't know. Like, they go out and get Jameis Winston, all mad respect to that. They needed a quarterback. They felt like they needed to go that route. But he still hasn't gone over that hurdle. Like, I felt like he had multiple opportunities to be the starting quarterback. He wanted out of Tampa. Tampa didn't want to move him. It's like, why not move the guy? Because me personally, I want to see him somewhere else. I want to see him have an opportunity to be a starter. And I want to see him have an opportunity to be a beast, because I definitely feel like with his frame and his arm, he can do something. Is he considered a bust? Not just yet. But at the same time, it's like he's kind of going down that road because he hasn't had an opportunity to take over a team. And I really want him to take over a team so we can really label him as a quality pick or a guy that just didn't make it. Next, we have Justin Gilbert. Now, before I jump into this, I really want to kind of break something down real quick. The year that Arizona took Pat P, they had DRC on their roster already. And DRC at the time was that corner that was transitioning into that potential shutdown guy, that guy that could be a beast, can be a stud for Arizona. And so they go draft Pat P. So you're like, oh my God, they're about to have shutdown city at the CB position. And then they traded away DRC to, Philly. And it's like, why? So with that being said, the year that Justin Gilbert went to the Cleveland Browns, I definitely thought Joe Hayden was going to be on the way out. Joe Hayden stayed. Great. That's a phenomenal move by them. So now you get Justin Gilbert, this stud, athletic, 4.3 running CB that had pretty decent, solid man coverage. And you have Joe Hayden, a guy that, I think more or less can play some man, a little bit stronger in the zone game. So now you have Joe Hayden that can mentor Justin Gilbert. So now you feel like that Justin Gilbert can make that next step and make that next leap really quick. And then you're going to have two studs on the outside. There's no reason why you shouldn't, right? I don't know what his problem is. And like I said, this is pretty recent, so it's still teeter-tottering. And I feel like he's on that route. I feel like he's on the route to being a bust if he's not working hard. Like, if he doesn't come out this next season and ball out for the Cleveland Browns, it's over for him, man. The Cleveland Browns, if you watch that team right now with Hugh Jackson, they're trying to actually turn that team around and make it a hard-nosed, strong team. He played in Cincy a few years, so he understands what players he needs and what players he don't need. If Justin Gilbert doesn't get it together, he will be out the door for that purpose. You're not a guy I want on my team. I want a hard worker. I want a guy that's going to show up every day. I want a guy that's going to tear things apart. And if Gilbert can't get that together, dude, he's done. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to be a CB3. He's going to be a nickel guy coming off the bench. They're going to start playing special teams. He's going to be a gunner. The next thing you know, he's going to be out of the league. So he has to get it going because I think he has an opportunity, the ability to be a CB1 and be a shutdown CB1 at that with his speed and his length and just his athleticism and what he brings to the game. I think he has the opportunity to be a CB1. And on a side note, I definitely feel like Detroit should have picked him up. I think they got Eric Ebron or somebody. It was stupid. Somebody that wasn't needed on that team. They should have got Justin Gilbert. Now we have Earl Thomas. The reason why we have Earl Thomas on this list, before you start chopping my head off and hitting the dislike button, dropping negative comments or whatever, is because he was a guy that I knew, like I said, in that draft, if you go back, I thought Taylor Mays was a second base safety. I knew what Earl Thomas was capable of. I knew he had the ability to do what he's doing right now. But the thing that I thought was going to hinder him, and the thing that I was going to kill him so much, was I thought his body was under mature. I didn't think his body was ready for the NFL. I thought he should have stayed another year in Texas, but he didn't. He came out early, and I was like, Earl, it's going to hurt you, bro. It's not going to work for you. I just thought he was going to be like Bob Sanders, because Bob Sanders is my dude, and he kept letting me down because he couldn't stay healthy. And I thought that same thing was going to happen to Earl, but he didn't. Like, obviously, he stayed healthy, and he's doing everything, and he's growing as a player and getting into the playbook, reading offenses and knowing where the ball's going to be before the ball is even there. And then, obviously, as you guys know, Earl got a Lambo, so he's doing that too. When he was coming out of college, I kept telling everybody, I was like, he's not going to last. He's not going to last because he's going to be injured too many times, and he's going to get cut from the team. He's going to be off somewhere. And I thought that's what's going to happen. I thought Eric Berry was going to be a stud, and I thought he was going to be a shutdown, or not shutdown. I thought he was going to be the second coming at Ed Reed. That's what I thought EB was going to be. And I think we used him incorrectly for him to be that guy. But anyways, and then you had Taylor Mays, which I thought was a stud, and I just knew Taylor Mays was going to rock teams wherever he went. He just kind of couldn't get it right. And then Earl Thomas came out, and I was just like, this Earl, forget about Earl. He's going to be gone out of the league in the next 3 years anyway. And I feel like an idiot. So that's why I put him on this list. I felt really dumb about saying that about Earl Thomas. And really, like I said, everybody's body is different. And Earl Thomas' body clearly could handle the NFL. And he's put together some quality years, a lot of quality years. And one, in my opinion, not one, but definitely changed some games around for the Seattle Seahawks. So, I messed up. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. That's just some of the guys that I know that I missed on, and they just haven't had a chance to really turn things around. But I know I just kind of messed up, and hopefully things turn out better. Drop some of your busts down in the comment section below. Let me know who you missed on, or who you even said that was going to be bad that turned out to be really good. And be honest with you. A lot of people won't be honest with this kind of stuff. Like I said, the big not social media, but the big media places, they only show the positive. They only say, oh, I said this guy was going to be a first-round draft pick, sleeper stud, blah, 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 and look at him now. No one talks about their failures as much as possible. I know Jeremiah. You guys know who I'm talking about. The guy who moved the sticks. I know he talks about it on his podcast about some of the things he missed on. But I want to know some of you guys as well. These are some of mine. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not a footballologist yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will get back on my videos. You guys are gonna be blown away with some of the stuff I got coming soon. So really hope you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay safe, football fans.